My name is Joe Sepi. Before I even get into my slides and my talk, I wanted to just comment to you on how happy I am to be here. JSConf is really special to me. I went to many JSConf events, all the Amelia Island ones. They were so wonderful. I think my first one was with Rachel. My son was 6 when he pushed the button to launch the Node rocket, and he's 16 now. I helped volunteer at some Empire.js events, a JSConf family, and I'm just really happy to be here. So thank you to Chris, thank you to Robin, and everyone who helped make this happen. Okay. I also, I see a lot of familiar faces, but for folks who don't know me, my name is Joe Sepi. I'm super lucky as a part of my job to be able to do work in the OpenJS Foundation. I was a part of the group that helped the merger happen. Out of that work, I became the chair of the Cross-Project Council, which is kind of like the top advisory committee at the foundation. And as Robin talked about yesterday, we've got some great collaboration spaces that are happening. A recent one we started around AI, but we also have security and standards. And I want to take this opportunity to just invite folks to get involved with the work that we're doing. The AI space is really interesting, and it's stuff I'm going to talk about today. But I never miss an opportunity to try and get folks to get more involved. Is that link? Actually, I'm kind of doubling up on my slides here. So that link up on the top there, openjsf.org/collaborate, is a way that you can find out how to get more involved in the work that we're doing at OpenJS. Okay, so where was I? Actually, I meant to delete this slide, but this is a joke that I had with a friend, Julia, who's visiting Miami, and there are all these delivery robots down there. It kind of works with my talk here because that robot at the bottom is stuck. So let's talk about that. But first, I'll say, in terms of my work at IBM, I'm a program director in IBM Research on the Open Technologies team. Traditionally, our team has worked in the cloud-native open source space. We build on open source at IBM, so we have folks embedded in all the Kubernetes ecosystem projects, do a lot of work there. And I also get to work in the OpenJS Foundation. But as with everything, we've kind of shifted some of our work to AI, and particularly open source AI. But before I get into some of that, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about my journey. No, I wasn't in the band Journey. I was in the band Skid Row for like 30 seconds, which is a funny story that I'll tell you later if you want. But I did give a talk at Node Interactive back in 2017 about my journey through web development. I dropped out of college. I was playing in punk rock bands, and I figured that music would provide some way for me, to make money. I wasn't even thinking career, like a job, whatever. I'd work in a studio or at a label, or who knows, maybe my band would even make some money, which we never really did. But as I kind of worked through that, this is late 90s, people started asking for a website or an email or MP3s, and I thought, well, I better figure out how some of this stuff works. And luckily, at that time, you could view source, and it made sense. You could read it and be like, oh, I get that. This is actually current. This isn't old. This is my current band website. I try to keep it simple. But back then, you could read it, and I thought, this isn't magic. So I built my band's website. I built my friend's band's website, artists and photographers. I remember I got paid once with an air conditioner. I didn't need an air conditioner, but that's all he had. So but yeah, so the reason why I talk about all this is like shortly after that, actually, so around this time, I met this woman who I eventually married. I'm now happily divorced, but when I met her, she's like, people pay money for those sorts of skills. If you can build a website, you could probably get a job doing that. I was like, wow, that's a great idea. And so shortly after, like a couple of years later, I found myself working at Sears, and I thought, this is this a real job? This is a career? I kind of stumbled my way into that, and I feel very lucky that I was able to basically grow my skills as the web grew, as the web matured, my skills developed, and I feel still very lucky that that things worked out that way. And so I'll get to more of that in a moment. First of all, I never miss an opportunity to talk about my band. So I play in a band called Discount Fireworks. I got a whole bunch of shirts for sale if you want. So they make a great gift. A guy at a bar the other day before we even played bought one because his brother is like a prosthetics person and he's always preaching about fireworks are bad, so he bought one. Anyway, so yeah, back to journeys. I'm actually going to talk about IBM's journey for a minute. They've been doing this for a long time. Does anybody know what IBM stands for? I assume folks know International Business Machines. I kind of really like that name. It's just so serious. International business. Does anybody know when IBM started? 1928. What was it? 28. 1911. Isn't that crazy? They started out as a computing, tabulating, recording company, which again, a brilliant, creative name. In 1924, they changed to International Business Machines. So anyway, this company that I work for has been doing stuff for a long time. And they've been doing AI for a long time, too. I actually got this list from AI, so thank you for that. But you don't have to read it all, but I'll hit a couple of the highlights. In the 50s, IBM was a pioneering leader in machine learning and built a program that could play checkers competitively in the 1950s. By the early 1960s, IBM engineers built the first speech recognition system, launching early pathways in natural language processing. In 1992, IBM's TD Gammon applied reinforcement learning to master backgammon at a professional level, showcasing early neural networks gameplay. And then some of these more recent ones you may remember, a landmark moment came in 1997 when IBM's Deep Blue supercomputer beat the world chess champion Garry Kasparov, demonstrating the power of advanced computation and algorithmic decision-making at superhuman scale. And in 2011, the original IBM Watson won Jeopardy against top human champions, marking a watershed moment in machine comprehension, language, and reasoning. I'm actually meant to put the slide up of the photo of that because it's really funny, the two humans, and then there's this IBM machine in the middle. It's really kind of cute. But yeah, back on these stuck robots, right? So the reason why I'm talking about these journeys is I feel like despite all that IBM has done in the past and all the work that everyone else has done in the recent past in AI, that we're still very early days. Yes, it's everywhere, but it feels so immature in so many ways, like stuck delivery robots on the streets of Miami. Yes, ChatGPT helps AI break into the mainstream, but I feel like we're in very early days, and it kind of ties into my story earlier that like, I've been feeling a lot lately, especially in IBM research, and right now I'm tasked to like try and stay ahead of how fast everything is moving and new techniques that are emerging and things like that. And I've been, ruminating on how I was very lucky in the early days of the web to grow with the web, and I feel like it's very similar now. It's early days of AI, and I'm fortunate that I can kind of grow with that. But not only are we in early days of AI, but a lot of the work that's being done is being done by like researchers, which we're a part of the research team now for the last year or so, and so I spend a lot of time with them and data scientists. And what I want to get across to you today is that we need more software engineers doing AI work and working in the AI space. The reason why I shared all that, well, I guess I kind of already told this. It feels like a really awesome opportunity. Let me quickly just highlight some of the recent IBM open source AI work. They paid for me to come here. And I'm also very proud of the work that the team and adjacent teams have been doing. So IBM Granted is a family of language models. We released 4.0 last week. It's very competitive. It's fully open, Apache 2.0 license. It's trained on trusted data. You're not going to get crazy stuff coming out of there. And it's very performant. It's on all the leaderboards. The folks in Hugging Face have been posting about all the recent work that we've been doing. We have an open source project called Dockling, and it's amazing. People are crazy about Dockling. It might be because of the mascot. He's really pretty cute. but it feels like doc parsing is really dry and boring, but people are very excited about it. I mean, AI is built on data, so it makes sense. You want high quality data. There's some, when my friends talk about docling and the work that they've been doing, there's this story about this like 2-column PDF. When it was parsed, they put these 2 words together that went across the columns, and it sounded like some interesting scientific thing, but it was made up. It was a mistake. But now it's in all of these papers because people are using AI. And anyway, document parsing is very important. So people are excited about this. This one and the next one are the 2 that I really want to highlight for you all. BAI is it's a framework and a platform. It's a framework for building agents, AI agents. It's in the Linux Foundation under open governance. And then there's the platform, which is all the same. It's all under the Linux Foundation. But the platform makes it easy to discover, run, and share AI agents across the platform. Was built originally with ACP, which was our kind of next step of MCP, but then A2A came out, and so now they've adopted that. And I have more to say on BAI, but let me jump to this one quickly. Malia is really interesting to me. It's a new project that we open sourced like a month and a half ago. And it really struck a chord with me because my friend Luke has an AR, well, he has a startup that is leveraging AI to do a lot of the work that he needs to do. It's like dissolution stuff, and there's every state does it differently, and forms and all these things you have to do. And so he uses AI to like pull all that stuff together and create forms for companies to dissolve their companies. And anyway, he showed me, he had all of these markdown files, and it's just text. It's long, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, and it made no sense to my engineering brain, right? And so when I saw Malia, which is a way to programmatically interface with models, it really made a lot of sense. So you have methods for chat, methods for context, for variables, for validation and retries, and it's just a very more programmatic way to interact with a model rather than some giant markdown file that has paragraphs of text and it's like, hey, don't forget to do this and watch out for that or whatever. So I'm really kind of excited about Malia. So like I said, these last 2 I think are most important of interest to this group and kind of more integral to what I wanted to talk to you all about. BAI is especially interesting because we're at a JavaScript conference, and the original implementation was written in TypeScript, which was super exciting for me as a JavaScript engineer. But like I said, this AI space is primarily made up of researchers and data scientists, so everywhere they would go and show off BAI, the first comment they would get is, why is this in JavaScript? Why isn't this in Python? And so after hearing that a lot, they rewrote it in Python. There is a TypeScript version still, and I talked to the team last week. It's very important. It lags behind, but not much. But I think there's an opportunity for folks to get more involved if you want to get into this sort of space. They would love some help on the TypeScript and the JavaScript side. And similarly on Malia, it is in Python. If you go to their GitHub repo, there's a bunch of Colab notebooks, which I used to run a workshop yesterday. So it's cool to kind of go through it and see how it works. And they're talking about building a JavaScript implementation of that as well. So these, I think, are really 2 good places for folks to bring the skills that we have to the AI space. And that's kind of like what I wanted to, my call to action, what I want to leave you all with is, whether it's these IBM projects or all the other stuff that's happening in the space, I really would love to see more software engineers involved in the development in and around AI and how we integrate it into our applications. Like I said before, I feel like it's a really interesting opportunity right now because we're very early days and we have the opportunity to really shape how things are built moving forward. Everything's moving extremely fast. That's part of my job right now, is to try and understand what's happening and help the team to strategize. But I think that the space would really benefit with more folks like us in it to bring the things that we've learned, so that we're not like reinventing the wheel and making the same mistakes. Take all the things that we've learned in cloud native computing and deployments and everything, the software development life cycle, and bring it to the work that's happening in the AI space. So that's kind of what I wanted to leave with you all. If you want to talk about it more, have any questions, please come and talk to me. Thank you.